Recently, there was a big update to the Quest 2, specifically targeting its hand tracking. Now, the Quest 2 has of course had hand tracking for quite a while, but this is supposed to be a new big version, with Meta calling it Hands 2.0. It brought on a couple of very important updates, such as better tracking when hands are overlapping and the general ability to have your hands interact with each other. Now, this is all great news, not only for Quest 2 users, but for the future of VR. It shows that Meta, who are arguably the biggest driving force behind the entire industry at the moment, are very much interested in hand tracking, which I love. But, unlike most people I've seen talk about it, I am not happy with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the improvements and I'm looking forward to what comes next, and I'm not expecting Meta to just suddenly invent perfect tracking out of nowhere. But for me, the whole Hands 2.0 thing brings up an important question. What's changed? And I'm not talking about the technology, but about the use. Are people gonna start using hand tracking in normal Quest games all of a sudden? No, there isn't really even options for that. Are people gonna use it for social VR now? Well, you already could before, and since those games aren't really about interacting with many objects anyways, the way people use it hasn't really changed either. You know what has changed the most? Hand Physics Lab, the game that's all about using hand tracking. Though calling it a game is already a bit of a stretch, it's more like a very intricate tech demo. I played both it and Cubism, both games that were shown off by Meta themselves to display how good Hands 2.0 is, and I was sorely let down. Yes, having hands overlap is cool, and I can definitely say it's gotten more responsive, but it's still a terrible method of input. Many things in Hand Physics Lab worked quite well, but anything that needs precision or speed still has the hands glitching out or not doing what I want them to. I hope this comparison isn't too macabre, but using hand tracking on the Quest kinda feels like I'm in physical therapy after an accident learning how to use my hands again. Like your mind knows exactly what you want to do, but your hands just won't quite comply. You have to go at a really slow pace, consciously thinking about the way you move as to not mess up the tracking or drop the object you're holding. My point being, nothing has really changed, and I'm not just a huge pessimist either. 120Hz, AirLink, AppLab, and yes, even Hand Tracking 1.0 were all features released after the Quest 2 had already been out. Owning it since launch has kinda felt like buying a Toyota and having its software update into a freaking Tesla. All of those updates have definitely changed the way I and many others use the device, including Hands 1.0. Being able to just quickly use your hands for menu navigation instead of always having to grab a controller has been awesome. But this has been a quite small under-the-hood change to the tech that doesn't really have any real use, but people seem to be flipping out about this update like it just doubled the performance. I'm all for advancements, and I genuinely believe hand tracking is going to be the end game of VR that will even replace most controller users one day, but please, stop hyping this update so much, it's just not worth it.